Okay.
Seriously, that's not.
You should.
Good evening and welcome to the February meeting of the Prince George's County Cable Commission meeting. We are present, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm Tom McLeod, the Commission Chair, and
Doris McMillan.
And on our agenda, the first order of business is the approval of our minutes from the January meeting. Can I have a motion for approval?
I know.
Change the date. What's that?
When you say the next meeting,
You're
this
right.
is January.
Yes, you're right.
Okay. Been moved and approved. All in favor with amendment, say aye.
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 Thank you. Next item on the agenda are the action items. Action items.
Oh, okay. Okay, we have two action items to review. Ms. Pinchot identified it should reflect December 16th, so that was corrected. Secondly, regarding Verizon recent rate increase, there was no representative to share that update. However, we received a notification that Karen, the last meeting. So that takes care of the action item.
And I think that Handy did send in some information to answer that action item. So maybe
yes.
you could tell them what the response was, the net closing.
I don't have a copy of it because I sent the update to the commissioners.
Okay.
It was sent yesterday, right?
I got it in my email yesterday.
Yes, for your review. So.
Right.
And were you satisfied with because I believe that you were the commissioner that actually had the question about the rate increase. Were you satisfied with the response? Okay.
For the monthly reports, for the month of January 2016, and one suspended.
Thank you. Questions, comments from commissioners? Okay, thank you. Next agenda item is the Community Television of Prince George's County report.
It was the report
Just
was submitted,
written,
right?
The written report, okay.
It was submitted, right?
Okay, thank you. And then we are now open then for a public comment.
Okay, for public comment, I have Ms. Christine Creel. Yes, right, okay. Sorry for mispronouncing.
Okay, do I stand, do I sit?
Just
What do I
feel
do?
comfortable any way you
Okay.
want to.
I have a rather lengthy report here, and I don't know if anybody else but you got to see this, but it details my recent experience with Comcast. I moved from Verizon to Comcast on November the 29th. My service was connected on, I believe, December 4th. At the time when the technician was connecting my services, I noticed that he moved my phone, my landline phone, from one area to the next. And I asked, why did you move my phone? He said, well, Comcast does not use a landline, so your phone is now going to be hooked up to the modem. And I didn't think of anything else because I'm not a technician. But I think that was the time that this technician should have informed me of what was likely to happen because I have an alarm system that operates through my landline. So it was at about midnight on January 1st, my alarm went off and I called my security company, Ackerman, and I asked, why haven't you called me? This is an alarm event. And they said, we do not see any signal from your home. So I said, well, what do I do? And they said, well, there's nothing that we can do. This has to be repaired through your cable company, Comcast. So that very night, I called Comcast. I know it was late, and the person on the phone could not, for the life of me, understand what I was saying, even though I explained it just as I'm explaining it now. She kept trying to sell me the Comcast home security system. So I hung up. I called back at about 4 o'clock because all of this time the alarm is still going off, it's still beeping. And so the next person I got on the phone basically tried to do the same thing to sell me the alarm. And I said, well, I have an alarm, I have a contract. This is something that happened because my phone was moved. And he basically said he just could not understand what I was talking about. I got very frustrated, and I said, I need to speak to a supervisor. And he said, it's going to take a really long time. And I said, I have to put you on notice that I'm going to tape this conversation because I think you're trying to put me off from speaking to someone. It just did not go well. So I ended up hanging up on that representative. So I recall the person who actually sold me the service, Mr. Arthur Thomas, and had requested his email at the time because he had requested my social security number. So I said, you need to give me your name, your employee ID, everything if I'm going to give you my social security number to check my credit. So I emailed him on, I believe it was January 4th, and I told him, this is what's happening, my alarm is still going off. Basically, I need to get a dial tone control panel. The representative I spoke to agreed that there was an error from Ackerman. So he told me that he will try to find out who the technician was and have him come back to my house. So on the 11th, I wrote. On the 16th, I'm writing. My alarm is still going off every minute and a half, all day, all night. I tried to put earplugs in my ears, put pillows on. It did not matter. It kept going off. So finally on January 16th, I went into the local office and I again explained, this is my predicament. I need to sleep. My child needs to do his homework. What can I do? What can you do for me? And again, this was Mr. Christopher McCann. He told me that I should send him the emails that I sent to Arthur Thomas. He will then send that on to his supervisor. So I did that. And on January 19th, I got a call, an email from Mr. Thomas that a tech was going to call me. And sure enough, the tech did call me at around 11 o'clock that morning, and we agreed that he was going to come to my house on January 21st to fix the problem. January 21st, I took half a day off. I waited and waited, and he never came, he never called. So I wrote again to Mr. Thomas saying that the tech showed no call. What can I do? I called back to Ackerman to ask for some kind of relief because I said, this is driving me crazy now. I'm not able to sleep. And Ackerman said, you know, they can inform the local police because there were two things that were on my mind. One, the noise, and two, the knowledge that I didn't have security services, okay? So they said, well, we can shut it off altogether. I said, well, I don't want that. If someone breaks into my house, I want a sound to be made, even though the police was not going to show up. And so they told me they'll inform the local police that I didn't have a system right now, just to look out for me while I wait on Comcast. It was, so I'm writing here January 28th. January 28th, this started on January 1st. January 28th, I'm writing, good afternoon, I'm left waiting for a response. I saw a Comcast van on my street, and I was disappointed that it wasn't for me. And then I received a bill for $439. And I said, well, you know, this here, my alarm is not being monitored because it was made ineffective by Comcast without any advance notice to me or my alarm company. gentlemen, and this is writing to Mr. Arthur Thomas and Mr. McCain. I said, gentlemen, this is unacceptable, and once again, I am giving Comcast the opportunity to resolve this in-house before I am forced to go to the FCC. Please understand that I prefer to resolve this matter, but my patience is running low. I need to protect my family, I need peace of mind, I need relief from constant beeping, and I gave my cell phone number and all of that. And again, I reiterated that this has been going on since January 1st. So despite all of that, no one from Comcast called me. So on or about February, so we're in February now, I called the Xfinity home retention number and related my story yet again, and I asked, are you sure that there are no notations? After all of this activity, no one has made a notation on my file. The first rep told me that he couldn't see how this was Comcast's problem. He explained that he had a similar issue and it had nothing to do with the cable company. He put me on hold and another rep came and she asked me again to relate my story. And again, I related my story. So this person heard me and said, and she also heard the beeping sound, and she said, I'm gonna send someone to your house tomorrow. Mr. Tech Derek came, I have his ID number, and he spent an unusually long time at my house. And again, I asked, well, why did it have to take so long? And he said, well, the person who connected your services did not do it correctly at all. They used old wiring, they used Verizon's wiring that did not work with, and that's why there was some issues. But I don't watch a lot of TV, and my son is not allowed to watch TV during the week, so a lot of the problems I didn't notice. But that tech was able to rectify the problem, and so I know that it wasn't something that Comcast could not have done within the first week of my reporting it to them, but it did take him quite a while, and he had to test all the wiring in the house. So at the same time, I spoke with someone from Comcast and I said, you know, obviously you do need to compensate me for all of this distress. And I'm looking at this bill for $400 some, and I want to be fair. You know, I pay my bills. I know you have your services to provide and you need to make a profit, but I need compensation. And she agreed. She asked me what I thought would be fair. And again, so I said, look, whatever you think is fair. So she reduced it by $100 and some and said you owe $2 something, but she said I had to verify that with my supervisor because that's a large amount. So I'm there waiting, I'm thinking, I clearly misunderstood, because I'm thinking, now you need to send me a bill. That's what I would expect. You need to send me a bill detailing what was taken off and what I now owe. That did not come. Instead, what came on the 17th, they disconnected my service. So, yeah, that really got to me. So I then called, and the person on the other end, I had to repeat the whole thing again. And I said, are you kidding me? Nobody made a notation. And why isn't there a connection between your service and your billing department? And who is responsible for taking complaints and processing and getting back to the customer? There seems to be no coordination whatsoever. So that person told me that she would try to get a supervisor on the phone for me, but it was after 5 o'clock. And so she needed to get me off the phone because they'll all be leaving to go home. And I said, okay, fine. I'm still waiting for that person to call me back with the supervisor. So I wrote to, when I went to the office the second time, I got the name of, I was told the vice president, actually no, the technician who came, he gave me the vice president's email, and he told me that I should detail this to the vice president. And I did, only to find out when I went into the office, the local area office, I was told that that person, we don't think that person works there anymore. That was Mr. Kearney. So I said, so my complaint is therefore in the cloud. So here I am at this point. I'm not usually doing this. You know, I have in the past. I know years ago I made a complaint against Comcast. I can't remember what the issue was, but it wasn't as egregious as to me. I'd rather spend my time with my child, especially on a night like this, but I felt that this was so egregious, it was just so irresponsible, so negligent, that, and all of this, to have written all of this to people at Comcast, and not one person who is able to resolve the problem got back to me. And so I wonder, you know, are the representatives, are they trained to resolve issues? Or just to pass you on to someone else and hope that, because at one point I actually felt that this is hopeless. This is absolute, and am I to live this way after living that way for about a month? And I really, when people talk about learned helplessness, and I'm not that person. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. So I teach people to do these things. But I got to that point where I thought, oh my God, you know, I can't resolve this problem. And I can't reach anybody at Comcast who will take the responsibility to resolve it.
So where do you stand now? You don't
Where I
have
stand
Comcast
now,
service?
they did reconnect my service.
Okay. Your alarm system?
Yes, once he came and he rewired everything, it basically was working again. I had to call.
Is it connected now to
It
your
is.
phone?
It is. He actually returned my phone to its original spot.
Okay.
And I still have my landline.
Okay.
Yes. So it was doable. So, you know, when I went into the office, the supervisor there, Ms. Henderson, she did reconnect my service and she apologized. Comcast had also charged me for the tech to come back to reconnect my service, and they charged me a late fee. And so she said that she will take those off. And then she asked me a question which I found so offensive. She said, so, and very loudly in front of all the other customers, well, you already got $109 off, and did you or did you not have service during that time? And I had to stop and really think about that, because I thought this is an insult to me. Because if all the other customers there had service with an alarm system beeping every minute and a half for 30, 45 days, then yeah, if that's the norm, if that's reasonable. But that was not what I got.
So how was that resolved?
So that is resolved. The noise is no longer there, but she was basically trying to tell me that you didn't lose anything that much. You know, yeah, we gave you $109, and yet you were complaining, but you had the service all along. And that just pissed me off. It really did.
Was your alarm an internal alarm or external? Is it outside your house or inside?
It's inside the house.
Just inside.
Yes, yes. So I said there are a number of things that I need. The money is not the issue for me. What I need to know, if I maintain the service with Comcast, what is their procedure for dealing with complaints? And I need to know that everybody knows what the procedures are. So when I call the first time, I'm told, you know what, you're calling the main number, you have to call this special number. There is no special number to call to state a complaint. And am I able to, at this point, say to Comcast, you know, I'm so dissatisfied with your service, I have the right to cancel without any negative ramifications for me. And I've spoken to a number of people from Comcast since I wrote to this body, and they're all, you know, very quick to tell me that, oh, you know, it's also, you have a negative balance. I still paid because I'm thinking the next thing that's gonna happen is that Comcast is gonna go to the credit bureau. So I could not allow that to happen, so I ended up paying over $200 and something when I went into the office, because I wanted to make sure that, because they're not connected. So I want some reassurance. It's not good enough. No one has said, you know, Ms. Pierre, we should not have, this is what should have happened when you call, because I can't imagine that I'm the first customer who has a landline security system and Comcast has digital services. So what have they done in the past? How have they secured? If he had said to me, the technician had said to me, you know, Ms. Pierre, once I move your phone and hook it up into the modem, this is what's likely to happen, then I'm informed. I can make a decision. I can say, okay, well, let me go with your services, or I'm gonna have to inform my my security alarm company. What do? I can make a choice. I didn't have that choice. And no one yet has reassured me that this is something that they're working on, that they have a plan, that, you know, in the future, if I stay with them and I complain, this is what I can expect.
Oh, excuse me, when he was removing your phone or probably replacing your phone to somewhere, was he aware that it was connected with your alarm system?
And that's the thing, my thing is that if you're a technician, you should know to ask the question. In fact, the person who sold me the service should have said, our service is digital. If your home has an alarm system, this is what's likely to happen, okay? And when I gave him the hint, like, why are you moving my phone? If he were, I was told later on that, oh, it's unfortunate that that technician was not correctly trained. Because had he been trained, he would have asked that question at that point to avert all of this.
So the document that you have, has that been provided to staff?
Yes, I did. I did.
Okay. And have you provided that document to anyone at Comcast?
What I did is just copied and paste all the emails that I wrote to Comcast on this
Yeah,
document.
we provided that to Comcast.
So all the emails you sent to Comcast,
Yes.
did anyone bounce back or did you?
No.
No one's bounced
No.
back?
After we sent it to Comcast, yeah.
They called me after
Right.
clearly I'm assuming that that's what happened because I started getting calls. My last call was from Miss Darlene Pierre. We're not related.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, was there any reply to any of the emails?
The only person who replied to me was Mr. Arthur Thomas. He replied.
He's the one who sold you the
Yes,
service. Okay.
yes. And he told me that he was looking into the rep, and so the email to Mr. Kearney, I don't know where that went, and it's still, this document is still addressed to him. The Mr. Christopher McCann, he is the person who actually works in the office, and I sent him some of my emails. He did not respond, but I saw him again in the office. Whether he sent it to his supervisor, I'm not aware.
You've raised some very valid questions, and certainly I appreciate the angst and the frustrations you've gone through. There happens to be a representative from Comcast right behind you that you might want to share those documents with and perhaps have a conversation with her offline to answer some of those questions to the extent that they can be answered at this point, and then we'll see where we go from there. Is there anything else that staff needs to do at this point?
No, not to the extent that we've already received the complaint and we've already started to track it through our internal devices.
I have one quick question. Ms. Pierre, you said that there had been no notations made on your record?
Not about the issue that I was having, only when I spoke to the person on the 17th when the service was disconnected, she said, you know, I do see that you got a discount of a certain
That's
amount.
it?
That was the extent of it. Yes.
That's interesting.
Ms. Brown,
You've
how does that
indicated-
happen?
You have indicated that you do know, though, that the services alarm system is working.
Yes,
That's
it
been
is
established, that's
it is
back and
working
functioning
now. It
properly.
is back, yes.
Okay.
They need to re-up the training.
Yeah, any other questions, comments on this issue? Again, I encourage you to have a conversation before you leave this evening. Are there any other public comments?
No, I don't have any more public person here.
Okay. Actually, the next item on the agenda is the Comcast representative report. And you have submitted a report, correct?
No.
No, no? I thought I submitted a report, okay. Do you have a report this evening that you'd like to?
No, I don't have a report.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners to the Comcast rep?
Verizon person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to see if the commission wants anything, any questions of Comcast? Okay, if not, then we have the Verizon report.
Verizon does not have a report to submit tonight.
You have no report, thank you, sir. Any questions from the commissioners for Verizon?
No.
Okay, if not, moving along to the next agenda item, that would be comments from the commissioners?
What's the name of the gentleman from Verizon? Are you just coming here for the first time, or?
I'm coming here, my name is Larry Graham. I'm representing Ms. Karen Handy, who normally comes to these meetings. She's unable to attend tonight, so I'm attending in her stead this evening.
Thank you.
It's Graham.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments from the commissioners? Okay, our next meeting then will be held on Wednesday, March 23rd. That will be our March meeting. Please make a note. And if there's no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. And a second.
Second?
We are adjourned. Thank you.